History is our record of the past, a collection of dates, events, and figures that have shaped the world we live in today. But what if some of those records were wrong? Not just a little wrong, but completely fabricated. This is the premise behind the phantom time theory, a hypothesis that suggests nearly 300 years of recorded history, from years 614 to 911, simply never happened. The phantom time theory was first proposed by German historian Heribert Illig in 1991. Illig argued that the early Middle Ages, specifically the period between years 614 and 911, were essentially fabricated by the Holy Roman Emperor Otto III, Pope Sylvester II, and possibly the Byzantine Emperor Constantine VII. According to this theory, these leaders conspired to rewrite history to legitimize Otto's claim to the throne, placing themselves in the year 1000, a date of significant religious and cultural importance at the time, often linked to millennial prophecies and the perceived beginning of a new era. One of the central claims of the phantom time theory is the lack of substantial archaeological evidence from this period. For instance, Illig and his supporters point out that there are very few buildings or monuments that can be definitively dated to these phantom years. One significant example often cited is the Aachen Cathedral, also known as the Palatine Chapel, which is attributed to the reign of Charlemagne and is said to have been completed around the year 805. However, Illig argues that the construction style of the cathedral does not align with the technological and architectural capabilities of the early 9th century, suggesting that it may have been built later and retroactively attributed to this time. Similarly, the imperial regalia of the Holy Roman Empire, including items like the imperial crown and the Holy Lance, are also difficult to date conclusively to the early Middle Ages. Some theorists suggest these artifacts could have been created much later and then falsely dated to fit the fabricated timeline. The theory also draws on inconsistencies in the Gregorian calendar. When Pope Gregory XIII introduced the Gregorian calendar in 1582, it was intended to correct the drift in the Julian calendar by removing 10 days. According to Illig, if 1,627 years had truly passed since the introduction of the Julian calendar, the adjustment should have been 13 days rather than 10. This discrepancy, he argues, is more consistent with a period of just over 1,000 years, implying that several centuries were added to the calendar without actually existing. Illig and his supporters also scrutinize historical documents from this era, questioning their authenticity. For example, the Annals of Fulda, a set of historical records from the Carolingian period, contain descriptions of events and figures that seem inconsistent with the supposed time frame. Additionally, the writings of the Venerable Bede, an English monk who documented history and theology in the 8th century, are often cited. While Bede's work is considered a cornerstone of medieval scholarship, Illig suggests that later interpolations and forgeries might have altered his original text to fit the revised timeline. One of the most controversial aspects of the phantom time theory is its challenge to the existence of Charlemagne, one of the most significant figures in European history. According to Illig, Charlemagne, often referred to as the father of Europe, may not have existed at all. The extensive chronicles of his conquests, reforms, and the establishment of the Carolingian Empire might have been invented to fill the historical void created by the missing centuries. The lack of contemporary records that can be irrefutably linked to Charlemagne's reign supports this idea, though mainstream historians strongly dispute this claim. Critics of the phantom time theory, however, point out that while intriguing, The theory relies heavily on selective interpretation of evidence and overlooks the complexities of historical chronology. For example, they argue that the apparent gap in construction projects could be explained by the chaotic nature of the early Middle Ages, a time marked by wars, plagues, and social upheaval, which may have slowed architectural and cultural advancements. Furthermore, recent advancements in dendrochronology, tree ring dating, have provided more precise dating for events and structures, often contradicting Illig's claims. So, did nearly 300 years of history really never happen? Or is the phantom time theory just a fascinating yet flawed hypothesis? While mainstream historians dismiss the theory as pseudo-history, it continues to captivate those who question the accuracy of our historical records. Whether or not you believe in the theory, it raises important questions about how history is recorded, interpreted, and remembered. Are we truly living in the year 2024, or could it actually be 1727? If you found this exploration into the phantom time theory intriguing, be sure to subscribe to Campfire Conspiracies for more calm and thought-provoking journeys into the mysteries of our past. Drop a comment with your thoughts. Could such a large chunk of history really be fabricated? Until next time, keep questioning, and thanks for joining us by the fire.